Okay, hopefully this will be a better recording than last time. All right, 58, hang on a second, I remember. All right, so 58, we're going to do the gridding question. So this is a just some simple interest. So the principal is 2,500. The interest rate is 0.04. Careful there. And the time we don't know, and we know that she made 500 in interest. So interest is how much she earned. She put $2,500 in the bank account at an interest rate of 4%, and she left it for a period of time, right? So how long did she leave that money in order to make $500? That's basically it. So 500, let's multiply 2,500 times 0.4, which is 100, 100t, divide both sides by 100, and t equals 5 years. So that would be your answer. This one, order of operations, 6 minus, and again, the only thing I'm going to do first is change. So I'm going to rewrite 6 minus 9 divided by the absolute value of negative 3 is 3, plus negative 2 to the third power is negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Still gives me a negative 8, times 1.5, and which I'll write it as 1.5. I might switch it back. So I changed this guy to standard notation, changed this guy to standard notation. Now I can follow order of operations. So I have to do these two first. Negative 9 divided by 3 is negative 3, plus, and negative 8 times 1.5. So negative 8 times 1.5 is 12, and that's going to be negative. I'll put it in parentheses. Left to right, we do subtraction, which is 3, plus negative 12, and we get negative 9. That was 59. We'll do 60 and 61, okay. So 60 is just an equation, all right. So distributive property, multi-step equation. 7x plus 3 minus distributive property, 4x minus 2 equals 13. Combine like terms, we get these two, which is 3x. 3 minus 2 is positive 1 equals 13. Two-step equation, subtract 1 from both sides, we get 3x equals 12. And divide both sides by 3, x equals 4. That was 60. 61. Find what is the value of angle x. Okay, so we have a perpendicular line, which means that's 90 degrees, which means, well, vertical angles, first of all, 35 degrees, which means this is also 35. So we know the sum of all three angles in here should be 180, so 90 plus 35 plus our missing angle, let's call that y, equals 180. This is 125 plus y equals 180. We're going to subtract 125 from both sides, and our y is 55. So if this angle, and I'll replace this, is 55, again, vertical angles means this is 55 as well. 62, yep. So we have the means of value of 8 numbers, 17. So we got 8 numbers. I'll write A plus B plus C plus D plus E. That's 5 numbers. And then we have 3 of these numbers, plus 9, plus 11, plus 20. Divided by 8 is 17. So we know that right now. That's what we have, right? So, and they're going to remove 9, 11, 20. Well, what is the sum? So what is the sum of all these numbers? All these numbers, well, 8 times 17, right? So if I add all these numbers, even the 5 numbers that I don't know, and divide it by 8 equals 17. So I know that's 17 times. So I know the sum of these numbers here, right? That is 136. So let me write this like that. 136 divided by 8 is 17. So that's what we have, right? So, and then 136 includes A, B, C, D, E, plus 9, plus 11, plus 20. Now they said they're going to remove 9, 11, and 20. So from 136, I'm going to remove minus 9, minus 11, minus 20. So if I do that, and let's do that, 136 minus 9, minus 11, minus 20, we get 96. So we have 5 numbers, so they remove 9, 11, and 20. We're left with 96, and then we only have 5 numbers, so if we divide that by 5, our mean now, 96 divided by 5 is 19.2. So that's your answer. So if you remove 9, 11, and 20, right, you get 96, and you have 5 numbers, so 96 divided by 5 is 19.2. 60, I don't know what that was. 65 is next. Here's 65. Okay. Works on a computer. He has an hourly rate plus a 15% commission. Last week, he was paid $802 for working 30 hours and selling $1,250 worth of computer product. What is his hourly rate? Okay, so last week he took home $802.50. This is his hourly and includes his commission, right? So to figure out the hourly, I got to remove the commission out. So let's figure out how much of the $802.50 was in commission. Well, in commission, he sold $1,250 worth of items, and he gets 15% of that, times 15%. So what's 15%? 1250 times 0.15. So he got $187.15 in commission. So now I can subtract, I can go 802.50 minus 187.5, which was his commission. So if I subtract those two, minus 187.5, we're left with $650. This amount is what he got for working 30 hours. Now, $615, we're going to divide that by 30 to find out how much he gets paid in 1 hour. So 615 divided by 30, that means he per hour makes, so if you divide that, $20.50, which is right here. 67. All right, points Y and Z are not shown on the number line, okay? X is the midpoint of WY. So if X is the midpoint of WY, Y should be here, right? Because if this guy, X, is the midpoint of WY, so there's 2 units to the left of X and 2 units to the right of X. So that's the midpoint, okay? So we found Y. Where on the number line would Z be located? Wait a second. If X is the midpoint of WY and Y now, this guy, is the midpoint of WZ. Well, how many units to the left of Y? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So between WY is 4 units. So that means the WZ is also should be, WZ will be a total of 8 units. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and here is Z. So Y is the midpoint of WZ, right? So Y cuts this distance, WZ, in half. So if there's 4 units to the left of Y to get to W, there should be 4 units to the left. 4 units to the left of Y to get to W. There should be 4 units to the right of W to get to Z. Okay? So where on the number line would Z be located? At 8. 69. If n is an integer and 3n plus 3 is an even number, which expression must also represent an even number? Okay. So I'm gonna do this. 3 times 1, 2 times 3, 3 times 4, 3 times 5, 3 times 6, 3 times 7, 3 times 8, 3 times 9. So if I multiply 3 times a number and add 3, it should give me an even. Well, which of these will give me an even? Well, 3 times 1 is 3, plus 3 is 6, so that gives me an even. I'll just write even. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 3 is 9, doesn't give me an even. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 3, that gives me an even. So you'll notice that with the odd numbers, right? So if I do 3 times 5 is 15, plus 3 is 18, so that gives me an even. This will give me an even. And this will give me an even. So in order for this to be true, n has to be an odd number. Okay, so 3 times a number plus 3 to be even, that n has to be odd. So we know that n is an odd number. Which expression also represents an even number? Well, let's pick an odd number. Let's just pick 1, right? If I plug in 1 here, 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6, so this gives me an even. Over here, if n is 1, 4 times 1 is 4, plus 5 is 9, this gives me an odd, so this is not what I want. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 3 is 5, so that gives me an odd. 1 plus 2 is 3, which is odd. So the only one that gives me an even result is this. And you can try with any of the other. We can try with 3, with 5, with 7, and 9. That also works. 70. The product of two positive integers is 65. Which number could be the sum of the two integers? Well, 65. Let's go and find all the pairs. So 1 times 65, right? That's a pair. 2, no. 3. 3 doesn't go. 4, 5, and 13. 6, no. 7, 8, 9, 10, no. So here are my pairs. Of these, if I add 1 and 65, so 1 times 65, and if I add those two, 1 plus 65 gives me 66. 5 and 13, if I get those two numbers and I multiply, so I add, I guess I get 18. So there we go. If I take that pair of factors, 5 times 13, which is 65, and I add the factors, I get 18. Nothing else. I don't think, am I missing another pair of factors that equals 65? No. 70. Okay, what is next? 71, 72, 74. Okay, 71, 72, 74, 71. N is an odd integer that is less than negative 3.25. What is the greatest possible value of n? Let's do a number line. Here's 0, here's negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. Negative 3.25 is right here. N is an odd integer that is less than negative 3.25. Less. So it has to be on this side of the world. I'll shade it. Right? It has to be less. In order for it to be less than negative 3.25, is any number to the left of that. What is the greatest possible number? So what is the greatest possible value of n? What is the greatest odd integer that is on this side of the world? And I'll shade it. What's the highest, right? On this side of the world that has the highest value. Well, odd integer, here we go, negative 5. Okay? Because then we have negative 7, negative 9, negative 11. So if we're looking for the odd integer less than negative 3.5 that has the greatest value. So the greatest one is negative 5 because that's furthest to the right. 72 and 74. So 72, yeah. So here's the question that has a box plot. Swim instructor, the ages of students who signed up for swim lessons, okay? Which statement about the distribution age is true? The data contain an outlier. I don't think so. Approximately half of the students are exactly 9 years old. We can't tell. We can't tell from a box plot. Okay, we don't know how many kids signed up. We don't know the number of kids signed up. That says 50% of the group that signed up for this are 9. We can't tell. So this is not. 1/4 of the students are at least 10 years old. At least 10 years old is 10 and greater, right? And they say 1/4. Remember, a box plot divides our data into 25 into groups and quartiles. So this is 25% of my data. This is another 25%. This is 25%, and this is 25%. Otherwise known that 1/4. So 1/4 of my students, which says that 1/4 of my students are 10 or older. That is true. So this one works. The interquartile range is 3 greater than the range of the data. Well, an interquartile range, first of all, interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1. Q3 is 10, Q2 is 1. So the IQR is 10 minus 8, which equals 2. And the range is highest minus the low. Range of the data is 12, which is not the same thing as the interquartile. It's 12 minus 7, which is 5. The interquartile range is 3 greater than the range of the data. No, that's not true. The range is 3 greater than the, the interquartile range. So this is also false. So the only one is this one. 74. Customer wants to buy a pair of boots. Okay? The original price of the boots is 80, what? Oh, you want the final cost. So cost of the boot's $85.75. There's a 15% discount, and there's another 25% discount, and then the tax rate. What is the final cost? So 85.75 times, if you have a 15% discount, that means you're left with 85% of the boots to pay for. And then you get a 25% coupon. Again, that means now that you are going to pay for 75% of whatever this equals. And then you have to pay for tax, which is 0.85. So remember, tax is in addition to, so we're going to multiply that by 1.085. So this is what you have to multiply to get your answer. 85.75 times 0.85 times 0.75, and then times 1.085. Final answer is 59.31 to the nearest cent. Here's your answer. Okay. What was that? 74? 76. What is the value of, so I'm going to write it as a fraction, x to 35, 20 to 28. We can simplify this, which I am. So x to 35, I divide this by 4, so you get 5 over 7. Okay, so we want to find x, which you can cross multiply or find a relationship. Right? How do we get, we're going this way, right? 5 times what's 7 times what's 35 is times 5. So I'm going to multiply the top by 5, which x equals 25. So x is 25. If you wanted to cross multiply, I suggest you cross multiply after you simplify. Right? So let's see if we get the same answer. So cross multiply, we get 7x. 35 times 5 is 175. You can divide both sides by 7, and x equals 25. 78. Coach paired 15 pairs of shoes. He spent $805.95, including tax. The tax rate is 8%. What is the price of each pair of cleats before tax? Different ways you can do this. You can do percent of change, new minus original over original. So the tax rate was 8%, which we're going to write as 0.08. So the new price was $805.95. Old price, and I'm going to change the O to an X. That's what we want to find out. Okay. So I'm going to do it two ways. All right. So cross multiply, we get 0.08x equals 805.95 minus x. We can add x to 1x to both sides. That goes away. This, if I add, remember there's an invisible one, so it's 1.08x equals 805.95. We're going to divide both sides by 1.08. So we get 805.95 divided by 1.08. So the before tax, the total was $746.25. But we have to divide this by 15 because we want the price of one shoe, right? So divide that by 15 and we get $49.75 per shoe. So you could have done it this way, or you can set up an equation. So you can write $805.95 is 108% of what number? So you can write a statement like that, change this to an equation. 108% would change it to 1.08x. And notice that this is the same thing we had before, so we can divide this both sides by 1.08, I'm sorry, and x equals $746.25. So you could have got to this point doing it this way. It's whatever you are more comfortable with. 78, 81. Okay, so, oh my God, so ridiculous what I did here on 81. If there are 4 choices on spinner R and there are 6 choices on spinner T, so 4 times 6, we get 24 different possibilities that we can get. We can get a 1-1, 1-1 again, 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, 1-4. I don't know what I was thinking before. So we know there's 24 possibilities. Now, how many of those are prime numbers? Well, if you land on 1, you can get a 1, 1, or 11. You can get another 11. 12 is not a prime, 13 is a prime, so you can get 13. With 2, you get 21, you get 21, you get 22, you get 20, 23 is a prime. With 3, 31 is a prime. 31 again is a prime. 32 is not, 33 is not, 34 is not. With 4, you can get a 41, you can get another 41, and you get a 43. So you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chance of getting a prime number. And if you simplify 9 over 24, you divide top by 3 and the bottom by 3, you get 3 over 8. No comments, really. 81. And then we go to the other 183. Which statement must be true if x is a whole number greater than or equal to 1? So x is a number that's greater or equal to 1. So if you do this on number line, here's 0, here's 1, here's 2, here's 3. We shade this and point this way, right? So x, let me make the arrow a little better. X can be any number starting from 1, and then, so what I would do is pick a number. And obviously pick the easiest one, so we can pick 1. So just substitute over here. So if replace the x with 1 on each of these, and see which one is true. So the first one, we get 1 over 2. A half is greater than 1/3. That is definitely not true, so that's gone. This is a half, because 1 over 1 plus 1 is less than, sorry, half is greater than 1/3. Ooh. Let me start again, sorry. This is a half, is greater than 1 plus 2 is 3. So that's definitely true. What the heck? Sorry. That one's true. The bottom one, just to confirm, This one says a half is less than 1/3, so obviously that's not true. This one, C, we have a half minus a third is greater than 1. That's obviously not true. Last one, a half minus a third is greater than 1/1, which is 1. That's also not true. So 83 is definitely A. 85. 85. Okay, so what is this? 2 hours to ride his bicycle. 48 kilometers. What is his average speed? So remember, distance equals rate times time. So if we isolate, we can divide this by t and divide this by t. And we get that rate is distance divided by time. So the rate, or his average speed. Now we have it that the distance is 48 kilometers and the time is 2. So the problem is we want this in miles, so we got to change 48 kilometers to miles. So we have 1 mile equals 1.6 kilometers, and then therefore we write miles here and kilometers here. We have 48 kilometers, and we want to know how much that is, right, in terms of miles. So cross multiply, we get 1.6x equals 48. We divide both sides by 1.6. So 48 divided by 1.6 is 30. So x equals 30. So 48 kilometers is 30 miles. And now we can divide, so this is miles and this is hours, but we want miles per hour, so we're gonna divide that by 2, right? So so his speed, his rate is 15 miles in 1 hour. Here we go. Okay. 85, 86. Here, x is evenly divisible by 3. Which expression below is also divisible by 3? Well, think about it. A number that's divisible by 3, right? So let's pick, I don't know, let's pick 6, right? Because 6 is divisible by 3. So if we multiply 2 times 6 and add 1, we get 13. Is that divisible by 3? No. Next one. 3 times 6 minus 5. 3 times 6 is 18. Minus 5, we get 13. Is that divisible by 3? Also unknown. 4x. 4 times 6 minus 1. 4 times 6 is 24. Minus 1 is 23. Is that divisible by 3? No, it's not. And finally, the last one. 4 times 6 plus 6. Well, 4 times 6 is 24. Plus 6 is 30. Is that divisible by 3? Yes. So 86 is H. Oh, 86, 89. So there is 6 people, and one of them is mailing. If 2 members of that group are selected to go to a conference, how many of the possible? So we got to select 2 people. Here, the first person to be chosen is already made, right? So how many different possibilities can I choose here to accompany May? Well, there were 6 people. On the second slot, I can choose from 5, right? So the answer is a 5 choices, right? There's 5 possible members that will include mailing. Now we have music, 89, 90. 90 is just order of operations, careful. 6 minus 8, 2 minus t is -1, careful. So when you replace t, you got to put it in parentheses. okay, over 2 times 5 plus 4, 3 minus m, which is 5, m is positive, so we don't have to put parentheses. So order of operations. On the top, we got to do parentheses first, so I'm going to shade. We're going to do this guy first. 2 minus negative 1 is 3. So we get 6 inside the parentheses 3, and 3 times 8 is 24. So that's what I have in the numerator. Denominator, we can multiply these two, we get 10 plus 3 minus 5 is negative 2, and 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. So far, that's what we have. 6 minus negative 24 is negative 18. And 10 plus negative 8 is positive 2. Final answer, negative 9. All right, so I think the tricky part was this guy right here. When you substitute t with negative 1 and not putting the parentheses. 92. Okay, when L not shown is located on the line stem, so L is somewhere in here. So that JL equals 2/3. What is the position of point L? Oh, I just did this last night. Hang on a second, guys. JL equals 2/3 of LK. But I do know that JL and L is somewhere in here. Somewhere in here. I just put it on top, okay? So JL plus LK equals how many units equals JK? Right? You agree with me? So JL, this stretch plus this stretch, right? It has to equal to the total, which is JK. And it doesn't matter where L is. So I mean, L is here, this stretch plus this stretch equals a total, which is JK. Okay, so I'll put L here somewhere. Okay, so I don't know where L is, but I put it on top. So L is somewhere between J and K. So I know that JL plus LK, which is the second part, equals JK. What is JK? Well, if you count the units from -4 to 6, it is 10 units. That is 10. So now I know that JL here, right, from our statement is 2/3 of AQ. So I can replace this because now I have two variables. I have JL and LK. Think of them as two different variables. I'm going to replace JL with 2/3 LK, right? Because that's what it is. And then plus LK equals 10. Now I have an equation that I can solve. So let me write that again. 2/3 LK plus LK equals 10. And where did I get the 10? Because 10 is the distance between J and K. Can I add these two? Remember, there's an invisible one. So that actually becomes, if you add 2/3 plus this invisible one, you get 1 and 2/3. 1 and 2/3 LK equals 10. I'm going to rewrite 1 and 2/3 as an improper fraction, so that becomes 3. 3 times 1 is 3, plus this 5/3 LK equals 10. Multiply both sides by 3/5, right? The reciprocal. That all cancels out. We're left with LK. And 10 times 3/5, what is this? Is 6. So now we know that LK is 6. I can put a 6 here. So LK is 6 units. So 2, 4, 6. So I can put L here because from this stretch right here is 6. And this stretch right here is 4. What is the position of point L? Well, L is at 0. All right, and you can confirm that 4 is 2/3 of 6. Nice little problem here. Tricky. 94. What is the circumference of the circle? The shaded sector of the circle shown below has an area of 18 pi. So this area here, not the whole circle, is 18 pi. Now, a full circle has 360 degrees. If you divide that by 45, you get 8. So there's 8 45 degrees sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? So this information, let me divide this a little bit better. Okay, so 45 degrees. Right? And we know that this is 18 pi, so we know that this is 18 pi, this is 18 pi, this is 18 pi, right? The area inside is 18 pi, this is 18 pi, and this is 18 pi. So the total area of the circle will be 18 pi times, we have how many sections? We have 8 sections. So 18 times 8, that gives us 144 pi is the area of the whole circle. But I don't want the area, I don't want the area, I want the circumference. So I need to find the radius. A equals pi r squared. The total area of this circle is 144 pi. Pi r squared. We can divide both sides by pi, which means this guy and this guy is gone. I'm left with 144 equals r squared. Take the square root of both sides. And r equals 12. So we have this circle, we know the area, the radius is 12. Circumference is 2 pi r or pi d. Well, let's use 2 pi r because we have the radius. So circumference equals 2 times pi times the radius, which is 12. So the circumference is, well, 2 times 12 is 24 pi feet. And we have our answer. Question that I don't know what the heck I was thinking about. 96. All right. Ratio. R is 3 times S. That's what's given to us. And T is 1/6 of S. That's what's given to us. Now they want the ratio of R to T. Ratio of R to T, right? That's what they want. So let's replace R. R is given to us as 3S. And T is given to us as 1/6S, right? But that's not the final answer. We can, again, this and this can go away, so I'm left with 3 over 1/6. I still want to write this in a neater way. So 3, that's the same thing as 3 divided by 1/6, right? Or 3 times the reciprocal of 1/6, which is 6. So 3 divided by 1/6 can be written as 3 times the reciprocal 1/6, which is 6, which gives us 18. And 18 can be written as 18 over 1. So the ratio of R to T, remember, R to T is 18 to 1. And that's this answer over here. Oh my God. Well, sorry about that, but those are the 2 problems, okay? 102. Oh, that's bothering me now. 2 problems. I can't remember how. What is the measurable angle Y? Okay. Well, we know this is 90 over here, right? That's 130. This angle inside the triangle is 50. So we can find this angle over here, which is going to be 180 minus 90 minus 50. So it's 90 minus 50, which makes this 40. And then 40 and Y are supplementary, so Y would be 180 minus 40, which gives us 140. Oh, I'm really bothered right now. What in the world? 102, 103, okay. Based on this sample, how many students in the entire grade would they expect to write at least 100 words? At least 100 words would be this group, and this group. Those three groups write 100 words, 100 words or more, right? So let's see how many students we have. 6, 4 is 10, plus 20, we have 30. So out of the 30, 4 plus 11 is 15, plus 9 is 24. So how many students in the entire group would be expected to write at least 100 words? It would be 24. Oh, there's 150 students in the entire group. So based on the sample, so we have 24 over 30, so we're making a prediction. So based on that, 24 out of 30 students, right? This group will write 100 words or more, and we'll simplify this. 20 divided that by 6, we get 4. Divided this by 6, we get 4/5, right? So we're going to use the fraction 4/5. Now, if there's 150 students, how many would you expect? Well, we can simplify it, right? So 150 divided by 5 is 30. So this simplifies to 30. And 40 times 30 is 120. So out of the 150 kids, we would expect 120, or D, to write 100 words or more. (104), what percentage is closest to the value of 0.0099? Remember, it's a decimal form, so to change the percentage, we're going to move the decimal 2 over, 1, 2. So that becomes 0.99, and 0.99% is closest to 1%. I'll make a separate video on those two questions. It's still bothering me. What? I don't know what I missed out. So here is a question on box plots. Manager shipping company, 9 packages in pounds of the last 9 packages shipped. The manager displayed the distribution of the weights in box. It's a 5-number summary, okay? So the minimum was 29, the first quartile. So again, the minimum is 29, right? First quartile is 31. The medium, and again, I'm just approximate, so this is the median. Third quartile, 73. Let me just put it over here. And the max is 98. So that would be your 5-point summary for a box. So if you created a box plot, it sort of would look like that. Which statement about the distribution of the weights is supported by the box plot? The min on 29 is an outlier. You would have to do IQR, right? You would have to do the Q1 minus 1.5 times the IQR. The maximum 98 is an outlier. Oof. The interquartile range of the data is 11. No, because the interquartile range is 73 minus 31. So this I'm going to throw away right now. The interquartile range and the median are equal. The interquartile range, well, let's do the interquartile range. Interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1, which is 73 minus 31. 2 is 42. So the IQR is 42, and the median happens to be 42 as well. So this is the right answer. The only reason I didn't do these two is because I highly doubt they're going to ask you to do Q1 minus 1.5, the IQR, right, to find if it's an outlier or not. They could have, right, but just that seems like a lot of work. So take the shortcut and see if the other ones work, and it did, luckily for us. 6. The length, what is the area of the shaded rectangle? Okay. The figure above, it's similar, okay? So the length of our outer rectangle is 4 feet. The perimeter of the outer rectangle is 14. So this is 14, the top line, right, is, well, sorry, the perimeter is 14. So we know that this is 4, which means across on the top of the rectangle, that's also 4. So 4 plus 4 is 8. So if we do 14 minus 8, we're left with 6, which means this guy is 3 and this guy is 3, okay? If the width of the shaded rectangle is 2, what is the area of the shaded rectangle? We want the area of the shaded rectangle. So now, because they said it's similar, we can set a proportion, right? So this, right, corresponding sides are proportional. So 2 corresponds to 3, right? That ratio is the same as this ratio here, which we'll call x, which corresponds to 4, right? So the width of the smaller rectangle corresponds to the width of the larger rectangle. The length of the small rectangle, which is represented by x, corresponds to the length of the larger rectangle, and there's our proportion. Cross multiply, we get 3x equals 8, and x equals 8 over 3. So this is 2, well, let's leave it as an improper fraction, 8 over 3. Let me just see if I did that. 2 over 3, then x over 4, okay? And then we want the area of the shaded rectangle. Well, the area would be length times width, right? So the length is 8 over 3 times 2, and we get 16 over 3, which is 5 1/3. Do we have that as one of our choices? What is this? Yeah, we do. Letter E. (108). Oh, another box plot. So let's see. Carnival visitors can win a prize. The employee records 15 ages that he guesses one Saturday. The box plot shown below displays data. What is the interquartile range? All right, that's easy. This is right here is Q3. Right here is Q1. We got to subtract those two, so it'd be 17 minus 8, which gives us 9. (108), 109. Okay. So we got 2 people running laps, Vincente and Carla. Vincente is 1.5 times faster than Carla. How many laps does Carla have left to finish when Vincente finishes 8th lap? Okay. So let's assume that Carla takes, I'll pick a number, 60 minutes to do 1 lap. And you could have used any other limit, any other number. I'm trying to figure out a number that's nice and easy. 60 minutes for 1 lap. Vincente, he's faster. So remember what faster means in the context of this situation. So if he's faster, that means he's going to take less time. So what's 1.5 times? So 1.5 times faster as Carla. So we're gonna take 60 and divide it by 1.5 to figure out what Vicente's, time would be. So 60 divided by 1.5 is 40. So Vincente is 40 minutes for 1 lap. And notice that I took these imaginary numbers. You could have used any other number, whatever. This just happened to make it, easy. Okay. So how many laps does Carla have to finish when Vicente finishes 8 laps? So we got 60 minutes per 1 lap. So if we do, let's talk about Carla. So Carla takes 60 times 8 laps, so she takes 480 minutes, right? Vicente, on the other hand, he's 40 minutes for 1 lap, so times 8 means that he takes 320 minutes. So when Vicente finishes, Carla is still running, so how much further is she running? Well, if we subtract, she has to do another 160 minutes. Now, we know that 60 minutes represents 1 lap, right? 60 minutes is 1 lap. 160 minutes would be how many laps? You can call that x laps. Cross multiply, we got 60x, 160. Divide both sides by 60. And 60 goes into 160 2 times, 120, and then 40 over 60, right? And we can simplify that to 40 over 60, just 2/3. And here is your line. So Carla has 2 2/3 lap to go after. That's 109. 110. Okay, so West College students are randomly assigned to 20. There's 20 choices of dormitories. And 6 choices of dining rooms. Carlene likes 6 of the dormitories. She likes 6 out of the 20 dormitories she wants to get in, and 2 out of the 6 dining rooms. So what's the probability that she's going to end up with 1 that she likes? Well, she has a 6 out of 20 chances for the dormitories and 2 out of 6 for the dining room. So let's multiply these two. That simplifies to 1, that simplifies to 10. So she has a 1 over 10 chance of getting what she wants, which equals to 10%. And finally, 113. You guys can do the other ones. 113, let me make it a little smaller. Okay, so 113, if all the positive of x, so values of x can be any number between, looks like 0.5 and 1.5, inclusive, right? So if you take 1 over x, what would be, and plug the values of x in here, which number line would represent that? So let's plug in 0.5 and 1.5, right? The extremes. So let's substitute 0.5. So if you get 1 over x and you replace the x with 0.5, I'm going to put 1.5. I'm going to put a half. Okay, so let me change this to a half. That's a half. And this is 1.5. And again, it's a fraction over a fraction, which becomes 1 divided by a half, or 1 times 2. So this becomes 2, right? So if you plug in this value over here, 0.5 or 1.5, you get 2. Now let's plug in 1.5. So 1 over x, but we're going to use 1.5. Instead of using 1.5, let's use 3 over 2, which is the same thing. So 1 over 3 over 2, which becomes 1 divided by 3 over 2, or 1 times 2/3, right? And we get 2/3. So these are the 2 values that I'm looking at. One that ends in 2, which it's not this one, so it's either going to be B, C, or D. And one that has 2/3. And that would be Why is that not showing up? Oh, here, 2/3 right here. So 2/3 is this point right here. Ooh, blind. Final answer. This is right. So we have 2, which is here. Yeah. 2, which is right here. And 2/3, I couldn't see it, sorry. It's right here. So if you plug in these two extreme values, half and a half, all your answers are going to be from 2/3 to 2. Okay? Hopefully the video came a little better. I am going to work on 8196. I have no idea why I can't do it. I'll look at my notes. I did them yesterday. And I'll post it on a second video.